Here are some rappers who didn't go broke and made the smartest moves. Find out the surprising rapper who wrote McDonald's "I'm Lovin' It" song. Number 15, Dr. Dre. Besides making music, one thing Dr. Dre definitely has been doing is hitting the gym. But okay, what else has Dre been up to ever since making Chronic 2001? Dr. Dre still manages artists through his Aftermath Entertainment label, where he's notoriously hard to work with because he's a perfectionist when it comes to music. That's 99% the reason why Detox never ever released. It's been canceled. It's been revived. It's been through so many different rumors. At this point, it doesn't matter because it's just not coming out. What do you think? Aside from music, he co-created Beats headphones in 2008 along with Jimmy Levine, the co-founder of Interscope Records. Beats has been so successful that the company was valued at $1 billion just 5 years in existence. Dr. Dre has also dabbled in a few films here and there, such as playing a character named Paul in the movie Training Day. If you haven't watched the movie where Denzel won his only Oscar for Best Actor, then you're really missing out. Hey, do us a quick favor and hit that like button. Number 14, Akon. Did you know that Akon helped to produce some tracks on Lil Zane's first album way back in 2000? Yes, that Lil Zane who came out with the hit song Callin Me and was featured on 112's hit Anywhere. Aside from making his own hits, Akon famously signed Lady Gaga to his label Convict Music for her first album. We also can't forget that he signed T-Pain as well. What else? Well, in 2018, he launched his own cryptocurrency called Akon. He plans on using his own crypto to help with his Lighting Africa initiative. The initiative is aimed at improving Africa's living conditions through the use of renewable energy. Currently, he's furthering that initiative by being busy building his own city. It's a futuristic city in Senegal, named after himself, called Akon City. And the city's official currency? Yep, you guessed it, Akon. On September 1st, 2020, Akon laid down the first stone of the $6 billion city. Phase 1 of construction is supposed to be completed in 2023. Do you think the lights would shine brighter than... Number 13, Paul Wall. And his grills. Don't ever forget that Paul Wall was nominated for a Grammy. Well, technically part of a nomination for a Grammy for Grills, the song that really put him on, but still, a Grammy. Paul Wall was hot in the music game for a minute back then. He's actually released a whopping 12 solo albums. Guess which year the last one dropped? 2020. He's just released Subculture, an album that's sponsored by Red Bull. He recorded the entire project at the Red Bull Music Studios. Besides continuing to make music after more than 15 years in the business, Paul Wall is still making grills along with his partner Johnny Dang, otherwise known as TV Johnny. They've been partners in the jewelry game for over 10 years. It only makes sense after he was featured on Grills with Nelly, right? Paul Wall and TV Johnny went on to keep riding that success in the grills business. In fact, they opened the world's largest custom grill store together in 2016. In fact, one of their most famous customers is... Number 12, Snoop Dogg. Snoop has continued to cash off the persona he's created. All this started with his first album Doggy Style back in 1993 and through his collaborations with Tupac and Dr. Dre in the mid-90s. He's actually still making music today, but do people actually still want to hear Snoop's latest music? In 2020, you can catch him doing commercials on the beach for Corona. He's gotten so many opportunities simply because of how he cultivated his unique laid-back persona. Reality TV is a consistent platform for him to make money from. Probably the strangest and funniest at the same time is the one he has with Martha Stewart. Martha and Snoop's potluck dinner party came out in 2016 and it's still running. He starred on the other shows such as Doggy Fizzle Televizzle, which was a sketch comedy show, and Snoop Dogg's Fatherhood. He's done 3 different Comedy Central roasts for Flava Flav, President Trump, and Justin Bieber. Then there are the countless appearances in commercials and in person. At this point, it's probably safe to say that Snoop is going to stay famous and relevant for as long as he's still alive. And another person that's managed to stay rich since 1993 is... Number 11, Queen Latifah. 15 years ago, Queen Latifah won the 1995 Grammy Award for Best Rap Solo Performance for her song, Unity, and she kept the momentum going ever since. She made a successful transition to acting in TV and movies, where she's done numerous roles. She's done mostly acting, but she's also been on the production side too. She's been a spokesperson for Curvation Ladies Underwear, Pizza Hut, and Jenny Craig. In 2018, she was named the godmother of a Carnival Cruise Line's cruise ship, the Carnival Horizon. Did you know that there are godmothers of cruise ships? However, not many people know that she's been quite a successful entrepreneur. Along with her business partner Shaquem Compare, they created Flavor Unit Entertainment, which is mainly a production company. In 2013, they signed an exclusive multi-year deal to produce shows for Netflix. Her other ventures include her own line of cosmetics called the CoverGirl Queen Collection. Then there are the perfumes Queen and Queen of Hearts. Queen Latifah has credited her family for providing early examples of entrepreneurship. Her grandfather owned a hardware store in Newark, and her grandmother owned boarding houses in New Jersey. Number 10. Jeezy. Jeezy was the original snowman back when he really made it big on the scene. In total, Jeezy has released 10 studio albums as well as numerous successful singles. These days, Jeezy is all about making smart investments. Jeezy made the snowman his own brand, a movement that's still going today. From the beginning, Jeezy's been mixing entrepreneurship with rap music. He was always consistently rapping about making money in whatever way possible. He said it was because of his grandma and his upbringing in church. He wanted everyone around him to do better. From early on, Jeezy has been doing different ventures. He came out with his own clothing line called USDA, but there was a big problem with the name. The government was already using the letters USDA. The government issued a cease and desist order to stop using the name, so Jeezy changed the name to 8732. He's also bought ownership in the then startup Avion Tequila, and then he sold it off for a big profit back in 2018. In 2019, he started his own sports agency called Sports 99. Today, Jeezy says he has around 10 streams of income ranging from tech to real estate. You know who probably has more streams of income? Number 9. Ice-T. Ice-T is known for his role on his show Ice Loves Coco and the long-running show Law & Order SVU. Before all that, he was making his money as a pioneer of hip-hop in the early 80s. But really, before rapping, he was an all-around hustler, something that he's always been. Ice-T created an online music label way back in the Napster era. He's done voices for multiple video games. He's produced numerous TV shows and movies. He's even written 3 books. New Jack Hustler was one of Ice-T's most popular songs, which was used in the movie he also starred in called New Jack City back in 1991. Ice-T has referred to his music as just another way to get rich. He's always seen rapping as just another hustle. On VH1's Behind the Music, he admitted that he wasn't one of those guys that like, oh, I love music. Nah. He said, quote, I love money. This sounds a lot like... Number 8. Master P. Master P is another entrepreneur turned rapper who can't be left off this list. He started No Limit Records in the 90s with just $10,000 cash. He's now worth over $200 million today. When he first started No Limit, within 6 years, No Limit sold over $120 million in records. Master P himself has come out with 14 studio albums and 40 singles. Besides rapping, he was also well known for the straight-to-DVD movies he did in the early 2000s. When he couldn't get the ownership he wanted for his first movie, he decided to bet on himself and invest $1 million of his own money. He wrote, directed, produced, and starred in his own movie. He released it independently, and the movie, I'm About It, sold over 200,000 copies and made around $10 million. Master P now has ventures in real estate, fashion, and restaurants, just to name a few. His latest venture is a line of products called Uncle P's Louisiana Seasoned. The brand will sell beans, grits and rice, and pancake mix, and a portion of the profits will go back to the community. Number 7. Troy Ave. We're going to admit here that Troy Ave isn't exactly a rapper with a household name. However, he's one of the few rappers who preaches entrepreneurship in his songs and on his social media. He's a rapper who's been completely in control of the ownership of his music since day one. We're highlighting Troy here for the simple reason that he's not a superstar rapper. His experience is the much more common experience for the vast majority of rappers. The vast majority of rappers aren't superstar rappers, but they still make enough money to get by. But what's different with Troy versus the usual rapper is what he shows with his money. He's often talking about reinvesting money to make more money instead of just blowing it all on the usual random flashy clothes and cars. Don't get it wrong, he does spend a little money. He just admits liking getting the max value for his dollars, such as buying a used Ferrari F430. From his Instagram, it looks like he's been reinvesting a lot of his money in real estate. For example, in this post, he's talking about how much money he'll be making from renting out a property he's bought. In another one of his recent Instagram posts, he's offering one of his recently renovated apartments for free to someone that's down on their luck. Number 6. LL Cool J. LL is another famous rapper turned actor who's probably more famous for acting now. He's recorded 13 studio albums with his latest release titled Authentic. LL was one of the earliest rappers who found early mainstream success back in the 80s. He successfully made the transition to acting with movie roles in Any Given Sunday, SWAT, and who can forget that role he had in Deep Blue Sea. Today he's still acting on TV with his most famous role as Special Agent Sam Hanna on NCIS. One thing most people don't know about LL is that he's also a tech entrepreneur. LL has a company called Boom Dizzle that came out with something called My Connect Studio. This software allows anyone making music to digitally record, edit, and produce music in real time, no matter where each person is. Think of it as Google Docs, but for music. He debuted it at CES in 2012 and then finalized a partnership agreement with Sony. My Connect Studio ended up getting preloaded on Sony's new VAIO laptops this year. Number 5. Kanye. How many other rappers have created a billion-dollar shoe brand? From producing Jay-Z's classic Blueprint album to creating his own Grammy-winning albums, Kanye's musical career speaks for itself. But it's his business side that's arguably even more impressive. Plenty of rappers have tried to come out with their own clothing lines and haven't had much success. His movement into the world of fashion has been almost effortless, it feels. He's collaborated with APC and came out with his own Kanye West collection. Before he created Yeezy Boosts with Adidas, he had the same hype with Nike Yeezys. And we definitely can't forget that he also collaborated with Louis Vuitton. The Kanye West Louis Vuitton shoes from back in the day easily resell in the thousands today. Number 4. Pharrell. First of all, let's face it. Pharrell is probably a vampire since he hasn't aged at all. Pharrell went from producer to rapper to clothing designer and back to making more music. And he was actually the reason why Drake was outed by Pusha T for having a secret baby. Find out more about why that happened here. One of his latest songs is a collaboration in 2020 with Jay-Z called Entrepreneur, and it's a song completely appropriate for exactly who Pharrell is. He has 2 clothing labels, Billionaire Boys Club and Ice Cream. He's co-designed a line of jewelry and glasses for Louis Vuitton. He's designed a line of t-shirts for Uniqlo. He's also a co-owner of Brooklyn Machine Works and textile company Bionic Yarn. And somehow, he still finds time for some collaborations with Zaha Hadid and Takashi Murakami. Our favorite fun fact about Pharrell is that he was the producer behind McDonald's I'm Lovin' It song. Justin Timberlake was paid $6 million to sing it, and the craziest part, Pusha T was the person who wrote the song. Number 3. Chamillionaire. Chamillionaire isn't one of those rappers who made money from one huge hit and then just blew the money. Nope. Chamillionaire went from rapping to angel investing in just a few short years. Some of his successful investments included Maker Studios, which was bought by Disney for $700 million, and Cruise, which was bought by General Motors for $1 billion. He was also smart enough to invest in Ring, a startup that was bought by Amazon. Chamillionaire was also an early investor in Lyft. He's the founder of Convos, an app where people could talk face-to-face with celebrities. He wants Convos to also be used for something as simple as finding a new friend with common interests. Before he invests, Chamillionaire said that getting to know the founder is his important consideration. To him, there are a lot of people that have great ideas that can change the world, but he knows that not everybody has the skills to be able to do that. So ultimately, when he's doing his due diligence on a startup, he's making sure the people he invests in actually can back up what they talk about. Number 2, Ice Cube. Ice Cube first made a name for himself as a rapper at the age of 16. But since his days of rapping, he's branched out into many other things. He's just a natural entrepreneur. He went from rapping in NWA to now acting as his main gig. He's had success as well in writing, directing, and producing. Some of his film roles include his iconic role Doughboy in Boys in the Hood, the righteous Chief Elgin in Three Kings, and the kid battling Nick Persons in Are We There Yet? In 2015, he produced his own biopic, Straight Outta Compton. In 2017, he co-founded the Big Three, a 3-on-3 basketball league that showcases former NBA players. It's safe to say, at this point, Ice Cube is a successful jack of all trades who doesn't need to worry about money. But this list isn't complete without the most successful rapper. Number 1, Jay-Z. What hasn't Jay-Z done? That's the real question. Jay-Z probably still wants you to remember that he's not a rapper, he's a hustler. He is one of the best entrepreneurs out there, period. He doesn't need the rapper qualifier. He started successful clothing brand Rockaware back in 1999. Then in 2000 started entertainment company Rock Nation. It's now worth close to $100 million. Then there's upscale sports bar 4040 Club, which still operates in a couple cities. There was the minority ownership in the Brooklyn Nets, but then he had to sell the shares because he started Rock Nation Sports, which represents athletes across a variety of different sports. Then there are the countless different investments. His stake in Uber is worth an estimated $70 million. His purchase of the champagne company Armand de Brunac, aka Ace of Spades, is now worth over $300 million. Here's what's next.